Welcome to the Mustafar Manifesto.
We're open for episode 4 of the Mustafar Manifesto. Hey there, Internet. How you doing? Our topic that we plan on doing for this at least session is what would the arc be called? It's the last 3 episodes of season 6 of the Clone Wars, where
I called
Yoda-
it the Yoda / Whills arc.
yeah, because
Are they actually the Whills though? Are they referred to
I don't know. I actually
as the
looked that
Whills
up.
in the episode? I feel like
Yeah.
I didn't see that. But yeah, it's the last 3 episodes of season 6, and it was wild.
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember this one pretty well, but I didn't really think about all the details, especially how it pertains to episode 3, and that by the end of it, you basically realize that Yoda pretty much knows everything that's going to go down by the end of Revenge of the Sith. Or not the end of it. I mean, yeah, he has the...
Yeah, they are called the Whills.
They are the Whills.
Yeah, it basically just says they're shamans,
Shaman, yeah, priestesses.
which is pretty fucking cool overall. But yeah, no, there's even just the first episode, they pack in a lot with
A lot. That's what I had the most notes about the first episode, honestly.
Yeah, with Qui-Gon showing up and talking to Yoda, and the whole little like slightly sabotage to be like, oh hey, you're gonna help me break out of here. I like how Yoda chose Anakin specifically because he's pretty rebellious compared to the rest of them.
Oh, yeah, in the second episode, for sure. He knew he would be down, and he knew it wouldn't be that big of a deal if he got into trouble either,
Oh,
because
yeah.
he's always getting into trouble. Yeah, so it starts with him hearing Qui-Gon, so he immediately speaks out to him, and what I thought was interesting was that Qui-Gon immediately interacts with the physical world, which I know was
Like-
kind of a spot of contention with what Force Ghosts
Oh,
do, but he
yeah.
just straight up made everything flow.
Yeah, even Yoda, with
Yeah.
Yoda float, where Yoda was like, oh hey, this is new, this is kind of crazy.
Yeah, that was wild. I know. I love stuff like that. I don't really question the Force Ghosts. I feel like the
I
rules of
mean-
Force Ghosts are so
but
ambiguous that
what
it's not too
really
big of a
is
deal
there-
what they do with them.
What is it to question for the Force Ghosts though? Like just how they
I just
are, or how they interact.
whether or not they can interact with the physical world. I think.
I mean, I guess
Use the
technically
Force to
no,
affect things.
because what if in the Last Jedi, Luke doing the quote Force projection, you can kind of consider that as a Force ghost, right? Where he didn't really have any interaction with the actual physical plane, but like he was still there.
I guess I don't know if that's a Force Ghost,
And we kind of just like.
but I remember that was
poofs
a
away
thing
into
when
the
Yoda
Force when
brings
he
down
does.
the lightning in the Last Jedi. That was sort of a spot of contention for some people. They were talking about it online, but
Well, to bring like, I wouldn't say so much with that because you can manipulate the weather and area around you with the Force before. Like we've seen that happen with not even just Jedi, with the few Sith also.
right. Then it goes on. It sets up. This is basically this whole arc is setting up Revenge of the Sith, which is pretty fucking cool.
I guess it is, isn't it? It's
Because it starts with the them realizing that Dooku's for sure the apprentice this time.
Yeah.
They talk a little bit about it a little bit in the movies, but they don't know for sure.
where they're peeking more to, oh hey, there's actual like Sith master somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, and then he mentions the Mortis arc. Yoda does mention
Yeah.
Obi-Wan
So-
and them going to Mortis, which I thought was cool because I thought they
Yeah.
just never talked about it again.
Well, I mean, with that, I feel like they told the Jedi Council, what they experienced, because I guess
Right.
it
And
would be a
Obi-Wan
pretty,
just assumed it was all
I
fake.
mean,
It was all a lie.
yeah, but I guess that whole experience was a pretty big like Force and Jedi related thing, so which could make
Oh yeah.
reasonable standing that they would tell them about it, like, hey, this is
Oh yeah, they
what
had to
happened.
do a report. That's what I thought at the end of the episode. I'm like, they can't just go back and just pretend like nothing happened.
So yeah, I wonder if Yeah, that was actually pretty interesting because nobody else would have been able to really go there, I don't think. And then there's
No, I mean, it was gone. They said it was just a moment. They probably didn't even see
Yeah.
anything, Rex, and the people who were monitoring them. They just lost the scanners for 2 minutes, and then they bleeped back on, and they have no idea what the hell
Yeah.
happened.
with that just being like a huge central like area of the Force basically. And then after that, which will probably be another point that you'll bring up is Qui-Gon telling Yoda to go to Dagobah.
Oh, yeah. So he tells him to go to Dagobah, so we know he's been there before. by
At
Revenge
least
of the
once.
Sith.
This would probably be maybe his first time going to Dagobah.
I would assume so, yeah. Yeah, and then I noticed that before that, once he sort of thinks he's losing his mind and stuff, before he gets Anakin to break him out, he does this thing where he like takes his cane and he's like, "Rest, I need rest," and it's like the exact same lines from Return of the Jedi when he's going into his hut to die. He like says it with like the same cadence and lowness.
Interesting.
Yeah, like my little brain sparked and I wanted to like say it while we were watching it.
Oh,
But
I
figured
never
we'd
really
save it.
noticed that.
Yeah, I love that. I felt like that was just a little Easter egg that Tom Kane probably did with his voice.
And then what else happened?
Oh, it was that
with-
meditation scene. They all get together.
Yeah, where
And there was that awesome montage.
Yeah, for the scene deprivation.
Before that,
oh,
they get together and they're like at the top in the council
where it
tower, and the
passes,
whole
like,
night
a whole
goes.
day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's when he's like, "I'm tired. I need to rest," and then he walks away.
yeah, that was actually pretty interesting. Even when I like seen this again, I was like, oh, that would be. I wonder what would happen. Like how strong that would be if all the Jedi Masters really just came together and just meditated on one thing, like finding a specific location or something like that.
Well, we kind of did see what happens.
I mean, yeah, but that was done because like
I know. I'm sorry. I won't.
Qui-Gon's all like, "Oh, hey, I'm gonna show up whenever I feel like."
Oh no, I meant all the Jedi coming together. Or the Skywalker.
Oh,
That's what I was saying. I'm just
it-
kidding. I don't. Even...
yeah. The.
So we did kind of see it.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting too how much the council doubts Yoda, especially Ki-Adi-Mundi.
Yeah, well, Keanu Moody's always kind of seemed like a skeptic. Like he's there. He's a real like.
Bro, did you know he's the only one fucking?
Is he?
They let him fuck, and have kids.
What?
Because, yeah, I just
Why?
I saw. I'm pretty sure Star Wars Theory must have done a video on this or something because I just figured this out, or I just saw this. Yeah, because he's like an endangered species.
Well,
So the
okay.
council just lets him like get
Just lets him
and just has
smash
tons
however
of
he
kids.
Honestly, though, that's.
Should we have a show about Ki-Adi-Mundi's kids?
I mean, we could. Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed.
Oh god, they were probably all slaughtered like in Game of Thrones.
I mean, maybe a couple survived. There's always little bits of hope that somebody could be like, "Oh, hey, I want to make
Hope.
this canon."
I
Yeah,
hated that
you-
Disney Star Wars. They just started saying hope all the time.
Yeah, you gotta keep hope.
We gotta have hope.
It's like it's almost like they're trying to bring in a what would it be? A New Hope.
Oh yeah.
But like, I don't know, because with the Jedi, they kind of just have this philosophy of once you're dead, you just go to the Force and you're dead.
Yeah.
Whereas the Sith are like, oh hey, once you're dead, but you can prolong that death if you want. Which whatever way that the Sith pleases themselves to do.
I think they were just about not dying also.
Yeah,
living
no,
as
it
long as
was
they
to
possibly
keep,
could,
like,
yeah.
immortality and all that.
Because when he was talking to Darth Bane, he was sort of like, what's the point? There's nothing after this. Or was
Yeah.
it Sidious when he was pretending to be Cypher Diaz? He said something about like, doesn't matter, who cares what's after this? This is the
I
only
know
thing that
Bane
matters.
said something kind of like that, something along those lines. But like, that's partly why
Fools.
they probably doubted Yoda so much. Was like, well, Qui-Gon's dead. Also, all the other dead Jedi Masters throughout the years have never like shown up or contacted anybody. there's only been probably like holocrons. Those are the only real records of the past Jedi.
Right. No one's been good enough to have beings from the Force declare you
Yeah, worthy enough.
A couple thousands and thousands of years of Jedi being Jedi before they finally were like, this guy's cool.
So, which that actually brings up kind of an interesting thing where Qui-Gon says that his training wasn't complete, but on Mortis, he was able to project himself as a Force ghost.
I think that's because Mortis was
Basically just a pure
it was
Force
literally
entity.
a different world.
Yeah.
Like a different universe.
No, I was thinking along the
Some
same
sort of
lines
in-between plane.
where it would have to be like it makes more sense there because it's much stronger with the Force where
Right.
like it basically is that.
So before Yoda goes to Dagobah, he's resting, getting checked up on. Anakin comes in. He tells him he needs to cover him. And what I loved about that is it gave me like big Yoda and Luke vibes. Sort of Yoda
Their
just being like,
antics.
come on, we're going to go do stuff now, Skywalker.
Yeah.
And then he's like, Yoda, what? And he just starts following him around like, oh man, just getting him into trouble.
Just little antics between the two.
I love how worn Yoda kind of seems in these episodes too. Like he's slowly becoming the
But
Return of the Jedi Empire.
Even the
But even
doctor says
more worn
he's
from all the
almost
war.
900 years old, and then there's a whole however long the Clone Wars has been going on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like a big part of it was how long the Clone Wars has been going on, and all the killing and the state of war that he's just been living in for so long is probably just
Yoda's
really
just
taking a
trying to
toll on him.
like keep his peace in the middle of this hostile war.
Mm-hmm. So they go on. Yoda's got his tiny little Jedi ship.
Yeah,
I want to
love
see
his
what
ship.
that is to scale. I'm sure we can find that somewhere.
The pod that he's in always reminds me of the front of a TIE fighter.
Yeah, it did look like a TIE fighter.
Yeah, just a little TIE
little mini
fighter
one.
pod. I loved his ship though. Specifically just made for him. I like a lot of this stuff for Yoda because it's literally just like specifically made for Yoda.
Yeah. All the little gears and stuff are all right next to his hand and stuff. Okay, so R2 apparently has already been to Dagobah
Yeah, no,
and just keeps his damn mouth shut the whole time. But I guess that's kind of we've already known that about the R2. He just always keeps his mouth shut, and
But
so
that's
does everybody
always-
else that knew him apparently.
That's always the weird thing with like trying to make canon continuity
Yeah.
for already existing material. Because you have to bring in new stuff that will be really cool.
Yeah,
and
it's like George
nice.
had the idea of the stories in his head. He didn't
Yeah.
have the specific detail.
But like going off of just what's already out and then making, oh yeah, this happens in between is kind of like, okay, this is a
There's
little
got to
bit
be some
weird.
leeway there, some play. Yeah.
Where you're like, oh well, that if he's already been to Dagobah, then why wouldn't he know about Yoda being there and all that,
Right.
blah blah blah. And yeah.
And then we get the big explanation of the living force and the cosmic force from Qui-Gon, which
Yeah.
was Dave Filoni's epic way of being, because
It
with
was-
all the midichlorian drama
Yeah.
for OG fans,
It was very
it's sort of like they both exist.
spiritual.
They're both a way. There's a way to define it, and then a way that we don't really understand.
Like how the like how the Whills basically said it, where once one thing dies, it then becomes it's no longer the living force. Where
It goes to the living force feeds the cosmic force.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then the
And vice
cosmic
versa,
force
yeah.
eventually goes back into the living force. This whole big, circle, yin yang, and peace
Mhm.
and prosperity.
I love it, man.
Which is also really cool with how the Whills are, where what was it? It was there's anger, confusion, sadness, joy, and then tranquility.
Yeah, you gotta.
Which was
And Tranquility was kind of like the boss.
yeah, and I never really paid attention to it, but having tranquility in there is actually a pretty like far out there and intense thing for quote a kids show, I guess. It's a
This
little
whole arc, I mean, it was like a
Yeah.
giant acid trip.
I mean, not only that, it that had like going to the planet where the Whills actually resided and then learning the spirituality and philosophy of like everything. Basically, it'd be more of a purer form of how the Jedi want to teach stuff.
Right.
Because I guess because they go to the Sith planet.
Morban,
Yeah,
Korriban,
Morban.
vice versa, whatever.
Whereas they don't say the planet where the Whills are, but those are basically just the
If it even was a planet, I mean,
yeah.
he flew into another huge like
yeah.
light
It was
thing
this
where
huge
he sort of flashed it to somewhere
galaxy
else.
universe tear rip thing that was just all crazy and.
I love it though. All 3 episodes are so beautiful.
Oh yeah,
and there was great music.
Oh yeah. The music did really well. Like I don't know. Music is always one important thing for like a lot of film and shows, and because it helps really set and define the tone that they want to put a point across.
Oh, for sure. Star Wars would not be Star Wars without John Williams.
Oh yeah.
So Yoda has a vision. This is where I realized that you got to look at Yoda differently in Revenge of the Sith. Is his entire vision of basically everything that comes to pass that he has on Dagobah. He goes and enters the cave, fights himself, and then he has that crazy vision, right? Or am I getting ahead of myself?
So he fights himself when he's after Dagobah. He sees the visions in Dagobah of Sidious and the Jedi's being killed, and I guess
right, them fighting
like,
the clones.
Yeah.
Oh, and they do a really quick shot of Shakti getting killed, her on her knees, and then the lightsaber going through her, and that's the cut scene from Revenge of the Sith.
See, I didn't know that. I don't think I've ever seen that.
Yeah,
actually.
we should definitely watch that. When we're done with this, there's a cut scene because there's like that whole beginning part where they're on Grievous's ship. There's like an hour or half hour of content to make the movie shorter. They just shot so much for that like big rescue mission. And there's this whole part where Shakti was there also, and she got captured.
Oh shit!
And then they show in a hologram. She's like, "I'm sorry," and then just boom, lightsaber. Grievous just ignites a lightsaber through her chest and kills her.
Damn, that's savage.
It is pretty savage. But yeah, they cut that, and then she was in Force Unleashed and got a different death. But now none of that's canon, so who the fuck knows what happened to Shakti?
I mean, I guess what happened to her in episode 3, since that's still technically canon.
We didn't see what happened to her in episode 3.
I mean, but if it was cut, then it was a deleted scene, then, you know.
Yeah, it's a deleted scene, but I think that means it's not like it was an unfinished. You could tell it wasn't like all done.
I still like to believe deleted scenes are just like, oh yeah, hey, we didn't have enough time to finish it. Sorry, guys.
I mean, sometimes things get deleted because they don't work narratively, and so they're like, scrap that. But to be fair, that wouldn't affect the narrative of the story in any way. It's just a thing that happens. Character death.
Wait, speaking of character death, going on to the next thing where Yoda does actually fight like his evil self or the evil in him, which is a really intense also thing of like
Shadow Yoda, Darth Yoda.
Like overcoming your
Gollum
own
Yoda.
like inner demons. He basically was like Gollum.
After especially I just watched Lord of the Rings like the other day, so watching all that, it was literally just Gollum crawling around doing the split personality things. But yeah, I loved it too. It basically had to accept the evil part of himself. He still had to take control of it and stuff, but I felt like it was more accepting with it.
Yeah, but that's
which sort of isn't what the Jedi teach you to do.
Yeah, where they kind of tell you to like cut it off.
Yeah,
like, don't pay attention to it. But I don't know, in my own philosophy,
which kind of reflects into what like
how Yoda
taught Luke sort of the right way of being a Jedi, I guess.
Where like having more acceptance over the dark side.
Where
I mean, because that would be the thing where if you just cut it off, then eventually it's just going to build up and, burst. Whereas if you...
I hate you.
Yeah. If you have acceptance over it, then you know how to actually live with it and control it to an extent where it won't be overpowering.
Right.
You become even more of a badass Jedi.
Yeah, man. And how much this show delves into, like, the mysteries of the Force. especially just in the Mortis arc episode and then this
Like, what do you
episode.
mean, like the mysteries of the Force? Like
the
whole...
movies don't go. You get Obi-Wan's little explanation of it surrounds us and it binds
Yeah,
us, and you
have
get the midichlorians sort of explanation
the
from Qui-Gon.
binding thing that connects all the living things.
Yeah, but
and-
seeing like the fact that there are these deities in space, these beings that can
Yeah.
bring themselves into mortal form, and these priestess
because there's-
force beings that
there's
know all the
other
mysteries.
kind of like galaxy deities where like the species that created like all the other species and all that. Whereas that's never really touched upon a lot, I think, ever in any of the shows or anything. Or not the shows, the movies. But like with this, yeah, getting more into the whole force deities where they specifically talk about planets attributed to the light and dark side of the Force.
Planets and sort of different realms. It was just a trip, and it's fun knowing that it must have all been approved by George Lucas, I would assume, because that's like, it's very detailed,
Yeah.
to give such a detailed explanation, I guess, kind of like explanation of things going on in the Force is a ballsy move, and
I mean, you have to think, at least in some aspect,
crazy
George
idea.
would have a lot of these things thought out. Plus, throughout the years, before like a lot of the stuff became uncanon, he would have had to approve a lot of the stuff that people would write. And
I know
put
him
out.
him and Dave Filoni worked really closely. I'm pretty
So
sure,
like,
during the whole show.
so like, if there's a lot of crazy stuff that people want to put in, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that sounds pretty fucking dope. I want that in there. Sure, I'll sign off on that." Then yeah, he probably at least some point had something similar to this, where
Right.
like a lot of, like how a lot of the legend stuff is slightly being modified and pulled over to be more canon.
Yeah. Pulled over and changed. A lot of it changed,
Yeah,
but you can tell it's just.
I mean, just some names and minor stuff, but like it also atones.
It kind of
or-
sucks though, because then it's sort of like these new people take all these ideas that these other people already thought of, and then
Yeah, but there's also a lot to Star Wars where when the whole thing came out of, oh hey, a lot of this isn't canon, a lot of people were like, oh well, a lot of that stuff was pretty cool.
yeah. Well, that's what I was saying, and now the people who wrote a lot of things that some of the stuff that's happening now is inspired on don't really get the credit
Yeah,
that they probably deserve. Yeah.
What's up next, Tom?
I was just looking at my next note, and I wrote "sick ass floating planet inside the planet."
Yeah, with the
but
whole,
you know what I'm talking about.
with the whole little, I guess it's where Yoda is told to go after Dagobah, and he goes through the space rift, whatever it is. Cool.
Yeah, that's the
astral-
planet where he meets the Whills. Yeah.
And he goes in. He goes basically inside, kind of like, almost like inside the mantle of it, and then talks to. He just had it, Tranquility, that will,
Right.
and she or it, don't want to put genders on aliens. Everybody can make their own decisions. Hashtag Me Too movement, whatever. And so there's this whole where they tell him to go to basically this floating island that's just really full of the dark side. That's where he fights.
Well, it
Golem
was like a
Yoda.
normal planet, and then he went into
Inside.
the planet,
Yeah.
and then it was all hollow Earth theory.
With Land of the Lost was right. Well, actually, no, it wouldn't be Land of the Lost. It'd be Journey to the Center of the Earth. There it is.
Oh, right.
But there were these like floating floating masses where there would be plant life and not really animals, but there was plant life and vegetation there.
I was kind of confused on what the planet was also, because they made it sort of sound like it was another place like Mortis, but not exactly.
Yeah, I would say it's probably more closely to Mortis.
Like it
Kind of
wasn't
like-
like an amplifier or anything.
Yeah, but it was more of because to get there, Qui-Gon told Yoda to rely on the Force. So it must have been a very
controls and
well. I mean, that was just for the landing, but to get to the actual destination from Dagobah,
Right,
because
yeah.
Qui-Gon was like, when Yoda asked where will we go, and Qui-Gon's just like, oh, use the Force to guide you. You know, turn off your computer, use the Force to shoot the photon speed
Oh.
us.
you turned off your targeting computer. Is everything all right? I'm fine.
And so, with that, it's just, I would say, a very Force-heavy area, or at
Right.
least thing. And then he goes into it. And even Yoda's like, yeah, I'll just let the Force take over and do whatever, you know. We'll be fine. We'll be safe. We'll be fine.
Then they have that alternate reality scene with Dooku and Qui-Gon alive. No war,
Yeah.
everything peace and tranquil. Things started getting really trippy then, because things kept like changing all within the same vision, you know? It kept going.
Yeah, these three are definitely another one of the sets of the episode that I really, really like throughout the Clone Wars. Another reason why I like it is of the actual use of impossible space, where like blinking enters you into a new area, or like you open up a door and then you just get transported to a completely get transported to say a field, and boom, door's gone. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. So he learns what he needs to learn from the spirits there, and then they tell him to go to Moraban.
To learn
Moraban.
from the Sith.
Yeah, to face something, I guess. To face.
Oh, just
I'm not
face
sure
the
what
dark
part of
side.
Yeah. Not to have as much fear.
Well, it's also to complete the
That was
training.
not to have as much fear of loss, right? Because
Yeah.
that whole thing was he has all the visions of everyone dead and sees Ahsoka.
Yeah, confronting his own, I guess his own guilt and loss. Making
Learning to let
acceptance
go
of
from it. Because he essentially, by the end of the episode, he knows that everyone's going to have to die.
Yeah.
And that this is pretty much the only way forward to save the Jedi and
well, because
bring
they
balance
also
to the
show them
universe.
that there is another Skywalker.
They straight up say it, yeah.
I wonder who it could be. Maybe it's Luke and Leia, or fuck. It's Leia and Han's kid from Legends. That's
Jason
Jason
Solo, the twins.
Yeah. But yeah, they literally tell him that there's going to be another Skywalker. Like that there, where at the end when he's talking to Obi-Wan and Mace Windu, saying that near the end the Clone Wars are and all that,
Mm-hmm.
and that it's not going to be the end of the Sith or the Jedi, but they will eventually have an end where it kind of fixes everything.
Right, yeah. He said there's a small way forward or something
Yeah.
like that, a narrow path. And so then when they get to Darth Bane's tomb, here's my question with Darth Bane's tomb, because at first I really thought it was legit Darth Bane's ghost there sealed in the tomb, which I thought for sure that's how it was. But later as he goes through it, the Whills come out before he goes into the Sith area where they don't have any control underneath his tomb. And they say, we've been controlling everything you've seen up to this point. And now this will be the only thing that we won't be able to control. So you have to actually be careful. So does that mean that Darth Bane's ghost was not real? Or do they just have power over Darth Bane's ghost and they just had him say what they wanted him to say?
I'm not entirely sure with that, because Sith don't learn or can't really learn how to come back as a Force ghost or a projection. Anakin obviously did it because he, converted at the end of when Luke took off his helmet and he
I feel
saved
like just
Luke.
their energy kind of stays around.
I mean, yeah,
Sort of like tainting an area with their soul or
because
something
then you
like
have
that.
the Sith that just try not to die.
Right.
I can't remember his name, but literally the Sith that was just
KOTOR 2.
just full of so much hate that
Darth sleeps on vibroblades.
yeah,
Yeah.
literally, where he just like he's full of so much hate where you can kill his body, but since he just has so much hate in the dark side, he won't die. His body is constantly decaying.
Right.
But
He's
his
holding himself together in constant pain. And you know what is interesting? The Whills are essentially like Darth Sion also.
Yeah.
Because I don't think there's anything under his mask and robe. He's just force energy, right?
Like the legend for it is like he's just a being, like of pure dark
I need
side
to
energy.
meet KOTOR too. So badly.
That's also why like he learned the ability to just like devour a planet. He can devour the life force off of a planet.
In KOTOR 2, when he's speaking, because I've only even seen one cutscene or two cutscenes with him, he just speaks. He's just like, and they have like subtitles, or they just have like a girl like reacting to him, like, "Oh yes, I will do this. I'm sorry, master." And you're like, "Oh my god."
And you're like, cool,
Who the
awesome.
fuck is this guy? Yeah.
Yeah, there was also when they at the end there when they show
So he goes into the Sith
yeah
underneath the tomb, and then Count Dooku senses a disturbance in space and time.
that's actually pretty interesting because even like they brought Darth Bane over from Legends, right? They kind of just were like, yeah, we'll make him canon.
Right.
And
I'm trying to remember if Darth Bane's tomb was in KOTOR 1, because you go to Korriban and go through all these tombs.
I do like how they
Can't
kept
remember the specific
him
Jedi there, though.
being the one that made the rule of two.
Oh, yeah.
Because that is also very kind of like an important staple that is a, part of the whole Star Wars universe, specifically with the Sith, of having the rule of two. Which again, why don't like the Jedi have that either?
Because the rule of two is
To prevent them from their greed and hubris to fucking slaughter each other.
Yeah, but that's not really what happened with the Jedi. That wasn't really their downfall. Their downfall was just being too narrow-minded.
That's fair.
Yeah. Different personalities call for different strategies, different religions. So he goes down there, and then we see Sidious talking to Count Dooku, and I noticed that I totally forgot Sidious's like bowl area.
Yeah, no,
it's the same
Sidious-
thing from Rebels when he brings up the blue fire and he's doing the chanting.
Yeah,
It's the exact
isn't
same
it?
thing where he sends the fire into the
I
portal
mean, but
in Rebels.
Sidious is very heavy in like learning about Sith magic, like ancient Sith magic. He's all about that shit. Like he's all like, "Oh yeah, man, I'm totally about the occult. You want to raise the dead? Let's do it."
He's down. I really want to read the Plagueis book. I've heard it's really, really, really good.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I keep forgetting about just a Star Wars novel.
There's a Plagueis book, or I can't remember if it's a Plagueis book or a Sidious book.
Does it tell about?
But it's about Plagueis and Sidious being young.
Yeah, on like Naboo.
I think so. Yeah, I've heard it's really, really good. So he goes in there. They have their fight. There's that crazy. I'm still not 100%. Oh, it was just them trying to break his will. So they kind of entered into Yoda's mind.
This whole illusion.
They had the fight. That's basically like the fight you wanted to see in Revenge of the Sith between Yoda and Palpatine, but you just couldn't get that on film.
Had a nice little shot of Sifo Dyas with Sith eyes.
Yeah, that was interesting. I like that they touch on Sifo Dyas because he's just a name that gets thrown around in Attack of the Clones, and you're like, who? Like, it just kind of comes up once or twice.
It comes up it does come up once or twice. And I enjoyed the whole like bringing up the Sith magic and all that, and the fucking ritual Palpatine does to make them, I guess, teleport to Yoda to fuck with his head.
Yeah. And so he gets approved by training. So yeah, I thought he was going to be trained by the priestesses then and there. And I was like, oh, that's kind of different from Revenge of the Sith. But no, they're like, you've been approved for training. now your friend Qui-Gon will teach you in due time. And so then he
Yeah.
gets taught in Revenge of the Sith after everything has fallen. Then he's on that little asteroid planet. And
Huh,
there's a
alright.
deleted scene, actually, I think, where he hears Qui-Gon's voice, but it's just not Liam Neeson's voice dubbed in. It's like some
Yeah.
stock voice or something like that.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so that's when Qui-Gon's there, he's like, okay, I'll teach you now. Now you're ready to learn.
Like, hey,
When
you're-
he teaches
you're gonna need
Obi-Wan,
this.
and so on and so on and so on. Then he gets teleported out of there, has even more premonitions. There's another Skywalker,
Yeah.
here's the babies, here's Vader's breathing.
Which I actually thought that was pretty cool that I kind of didn't really notice the first time watching it was you hear the babies, being
Right.
born at the end of Revenge of the Sith, and then also Vader's respirator.
Because it all happens at the same time,
Yeah.
too.
And I mean, Yoda is there for the birth of them,
Mm-hmm.
both Luke and Leia.
Man. Missed opportunity, dialogue, any kind of dialogue between Leia and Yoda would have been
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Maybe we'll even get a chance to see it because we know Leia had that premonition during her training. I don't know. It's kind of just maybe in the grand scheme of things, it's not that important, but that would have been really cool to see. Leia talking to Yoda, just having a little
We'll have it in the
conversation.
JJ cut.
The JJ cut. We got the Snyder cut. Where's the JJ cut? It would be fun to watch. I mean, I'd watch it. It'd be fun, especially if it was just like 4 hours long. Just super
Just do something like
an
the
hour
Lord of the
long
Rings
Mustafar
extended
scene in the
edition.
beginning of Rise of
Yeah.
Skywalker. I'd love that. So everything in this must have happened right before season 7, right before Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Because he's like, we're coming to the end now, and he
Yeah.
has all this information, and that's when I realized, oh, he just knows everything that's going down in Revenge of the Sith.
I mean, even a little bit after that, because like he has some like inclination.
Right,
of,
but he
oh,
knows
hey,
what's coming, and he's not doing anything to stop it. He just
Yeah.
goes to Kashyyyk, and he sits there, and
like, he's
then
kind
it
of just
happens,
accepted
and it
it.
hits his
Like,
heart,
hey,
and then
this
he's like,
is
okay, I gotta go.
we're not gonna win this. This is going to turn into something so much worse. We're just gonna have to wait.
Yeah, and it was a good original end to the Clone Wars for sure. It
Yeah.
got canceled, and then they released the Lost Chapters, and then that was sort of like, obviously that was leading into Revenge of the Sith, but then what they did with season 7, just
Season
having it
7,
tie in
yeah.
was so good.
I with season 7, they also just kind of broke it up into like 4 main arc, where it's like, hey, these are the
Yeah,
last.
I think it was
few
only
things.
3. I think it was
Was
3
it 3?
arcs. It was the Bad Batch, and then it was the arc
with Ahsoka.
with the Ahsoka and the sisters, and then the next 4 was the Mandalorian arc, the Battle of Mandalore with Darth Maul.
Yeah.
So Ahsoka was in 2 of them.
Man, that was such a good
It was
ending.
so good. The
with
mocap fight.
Oh, that's so fucking nice. Like
I
that
know.
fight there alone was one of my favorite fights in Star Wars. Yeah, and then I mean, we're now basically into the post section of
Yeah, it's
Usually-
smoking time. Smoking
Yeah.
and random conversation
Yeah.
time.
smoking, just a little chat. Which, unlike what I said yesterday, I
Oh, you can start that. Go ahead.
I actually did go home and play the Star Wars video game.
Yeah, you did. So you went home. You started playing. You were on the Terran Malicos fight.
Yeah, that was a little bit difficult. Where, like, one, Dathomir is one of my favorite maps on that. I will say that.
Yeah, it's hard too.
Yeah,
I love that you can go there right in the beginning.
Yeah, and just get your shit pushed in.
Yeah, and you can get the double bladed really fast too.
Is
If
good?
you go there, you can get it earlier than you normally can. If you go there first and just push through a few things, you
Yeah,
can get
I
it and
heard
then just
about
dip.
that.
Yeah, I did that for my second playthrough.
I think I got the double lightsaber, like, normally throughout this normal story progression.
Right.
I just started, like, I didn't start over or anything. I just started where I was left off, which was that fight.
Yeah.
really,
Such a bitch. I hate that fight.
yeah, the fight is annoying. I will say that, but I kind of enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a good fight. It's a crazy boss. Was so satisfying when I finally beat him. You know,
when I was
like I
done,
jumped for joy. And I was like, yeah, and just screamed out in my room.
I screamed for excitement.
Hell yeah.
I felt because like I also hadn't played it in quite some time, so I had to get back into the groove of it, and then figuring everything out. Where, yeah, with that fight because, wait, is Dathomir in the Clone Wars when you see the Night Sisters normally?
Yeah. That's where.
Okay, yeah.
That's where they go. That's where Asajj
Zabrak
Ventress recruits Savage Opress and everything. Yeah.
So, I actually always really liked the Night Sisters. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, they're awesome.
What was I? Oh, I was watching a video earlier today, about the Twi'lek. I believe it was specifically about the Twi'lek, and it was in this video. And the guy briefly talked about how different species call the Force, whereas on Dathomir, when with the Night Sisters, the Force is just magic. That's what they call it. So
I mean, they're literally using enchantments and words and all that stuff.
Yeah, with having all of the Night Sisters in Jedi Fallen Order being dead, kind of like, oh hey, there's no more Jedi and all that. I thought it was actually a pretty interesting concept, and how it ends, where when you're done with the boss fight, and you then get I don't remember her name, but I like
Marin.
Marin.
Yeah.
I think she's a pretty cool Night Sister.
Oh, she's dope. She's also the last one.
Yeah, she's like just her attitude. And,
don't they say that to eliminate all the Night Sisters in the Clone Wars TV show, or does that not happen? Because I know they were all killed by General Grievous.
Were they?
Every time I say something and then you're like, were they? I always question myself, but I am pretty sure they were.
But that's the thing with this is like, we can question ourselves.
No, I think they were. I might look it up right now.
If we're wrong, we can easily look it up, or somebody else will let us know, probably very not so nicely, maybe nicely, who knows. But with the Night Sisters, with Marin joining you, one of the first things I thought was about her joining Cal on the journey to teach a whole like new set of Jedi and all that, where because he would be one of the last people to continue on the Jedi line, she would also be one of the last people to teach more people about being a Night Sister. Because I guess you could also just like kind of go into being a Night Sister by learning the whole magic and everything.
I think to be a Night Sister, you have to specifically be a witch of Dathomir. Right?
Is that how it works? I thought you could also like, it's semi kind of how like Mandalorians are, where you can be indoctrinated in.
Maybe. I thought they were all born there. Thank you.
I mean,
but yeah, it says the Night Sisters here were all killed by Grievous.
Because was Marin a Night Sister there all along? Because I thought she was brought in to be a Night Sister.
No, she was a Night Sister. She was a little kid when they were all killed by General Grievous, and she just like survived by hiding.
Yeah. Yeah, because I literally just touched that spot on Dathomir. Because when I
wish Asajj was still alive in canon so that she could come into Fallen Order 2 and like teach Marin about Night Sister shit.
Yeah.
I feel like they could, because I'm pretty sure they killed her off in comics. I feel like they could just bring her back.
Did they kill her off in comics?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, I haven't read any of the comics.
They had this like whole love arc with her and
Obi-Wan.
No.
Obi-Wan's just there to fuck.
The badass like savage Jedi dude who's like kind of primal. He's in the Clone Wars.
Don't they have a kid together? Him and Asajj?
I don't know if they have a kid. They might have a kid. I'm not sure. But I know they have a relationship, and it eventually leads to her death.
Oh, that's a bummer.
pretty
I
sure.
actually like Asajj. Like her character development.
I love
throughout
Asajj, yeah,
throughout
especially
the
when she
show.
becomes a good guy.
Yeah.
She's working with them, with Obi-Wan when they're both undercover. She just becomes a bounty hunter.
Yeah, she just because I mean she's thrown away by Grievous or not by
By
Grievous by
Dooku,
Dooku, and
That's some like Force Unleashed shit right there. Him
yeah,
having a
just
secret
tossed away
apprentice.
and-
Except she just really went and did her own thing. She was like, "Fuck all these people."
I do like the whole discussion when Marin comes back to the ship and everyone's now together and I guess
Very Zuko, like, "Hey, I'm a good guy now."
Yeah.
And they're like, "What?"
like, hey, I want to teach the Avatar. And because I've definitely had similar situations just with my own self. And like I show up and I start talking about witchcraft and the occult and stuff like that, and people are like, Do you sacrifice babies? Like,
You're
no.
like, "You don't?" Yeah.
And I'm like, only recreationally. Come on. There's a shortage. But like you can get an achievement, I guess. It's to get all the crew members. I guess it's a mandatory one. I would
Yeah,
say.
that's a story achievement.
Yeah.
Did you get the little pet that runs around the ship? He like pops up.
I guess so. I remember seeing them show up, but I haven't ever seen it on the ship.
Oh, he's kind of annoying. You'll see him like underneath the holo map sometimes for a few seconds, and then he disappears back in the thing. Sometimes you'll see him in the back by the bed, and he's just always running through like the layers of the ship and stuff.
So I actually kind of like so I just got to the scene. Well, the current part where I'm at now in the game is fighting the Ninth Sister.
Okay,
I-
that's the end.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, I have.
that's why I really wanted you to beat it before you came over here. But I
have-
know the fights.
I have the art book, and I know what comes after the Ninth Sister. Also,
No, you don't.
I mean, I know the fight that comes after. I don't know any of the plot that comes
No.
after.
Oh, you do?
I have the
That's
art
a
book.
bummer.
I
Dang,
looked through
I was
the art
hoping
book.
that would be a surprise. I was hoping
The
you were gonna
art
be
book
like, "Oh
literally
my god!"
has a
Yeah, I
drawing
noticed
of
that.
Vader, and it's
When I
pretty
was looking
fucking
through it when you were
badass.
here earlier, I was like, "Oh, he's just in the art book in the last
Yeah.
page." I hope Jace doesn't read into that too much.
No, I've had that art book for a bit now too.
It's great though.
Oh, yeah.
It's incredible ending to the game.
Like which I only have one art book from like a video game and other source material like that actually says this art book contains spoilers to the ending of the game.
For which game?
It was for it's the art book for it's called Sakuna of Rice.
Oh,
and
it
Roma.
wasn't Star Wars.
No, it wasn't
oh,
Star Wars.
Yeah.
But literally at the beginning of the book, it says this contains spoilers to the ending of the game. I'm like, oh hey, cool, thanks
Thanks for
guys.
telling me. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm fighting the Ninth Sister right now and seeing I forgot her name, but the other Jedi lady that's on the ship with you. Seeing her, see that whole scene when you're in the interrogation facility or interrogation section, and she
Right.
comes in and just wrecks 3 stormtroopers, just absolutely goes off. I'm like, holy shit, that's
Seer.
fucking.
Her name's Seer.
Yeah, Seer.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, she's a fucking badass.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, I like Seer. She's an interesting character. I wish we could talk about like the end and where we think it's gonna go from there, but I guess that'll have to be next time.
Yeah, it most likely will. I was so close to beating the Ninth Sister
Yeah.
too before I came over here. But one odd thing that happened when I first got the game, and I didn't pay for this either, but I got some of the paid content because I was on the store, like the digital store, because I bought the disc.
I don't think there is any paid content.
Yeah, there is, to get the orange lightsaber and a
No,
couple
they
other
added
skins.
that as free DLC later. And then
Huh,
in an
but-
update, they let like everybody have that stuff. I was, trust me, I was following it. There was like,
Huh,
in this
weird.
update, it was like a year later, they gave everyone.
Yeah, but it was before like I think that because I just got the game and it was like within the first couple weeks, I had the game and I was playing through it.
Did you get the game at launch though?
I would say probably a little bit afterwards.
Oh,
but
well,
like,
maybe. Huh.
Yeah, it was super weird because I got the disc and then on the
it was
store,
added before. I think the 1 year anniversary was the Inquisitor update and the training room update and the New Game Plus update.
I don't know about any of that.
Oh, really?
Kind of dope. Yeah.
Maybe you might have to beat the game first.
Well, definitely with New Game Plus, you always have to beat the game.
No, I think you can only access that stuff in New Game Plus. So in New Game Plus, basically, it gives you an additional outfit, and it lets you wear the Inquisitor outfit that you saw from the art book, and you get to run around with the
cool.
Yeah, it's that exact thing. Because you were saying that was really cool, and I'm like, well, he's probably worn it before, but you weren't saying it like you had. So yeah, you can wear that. You can run through the whole game with that. And then you also get access to this training room. And basically, it's like a little simulation where you pop up any map, and you can spawn any NPC you want and fight them with as many as you want. You can spawn Rancors, you can spawn Stormtroopers, you can spawn whatever you want. You can spawn Jaro Topal. He's invincible, though.
Wow.
You can let them fight. You can fight them. You can put like Wookiees versus Imperials and just let them duke it out. It's pretty fucking cool. That actually sounds
pretty cool.
Yeah, you can fight ATSTs. You can just use it to test out powers and stuff.
Well, one thing that I noticed when I was just playing it, is either last night or earlier today, because I stayed up real late.
It all blends together.
Yeah, I stayed up real late last night. And I mean, I always stay up late, but the whole scene where you're running through actually in the in the Inquisitor outfit for a little bit, in the Jedi Temple on, I think it's called Borgon. I think I'm saying that right. Bogano. Sorry, thank you.
You will be.
Yeah.
No.
And he touches one of the walls. And it has like that reflective look that Rey touches on the Jedi Temple in The Last Jedi, and it does a whole similar thing. Yeah, like right before you get the holocron, when you're getting the holocron. And he touches the wall because part of the semicircle goes over and it reveals this like reflective.
Oh, that's crazy. I don't remember that.
Yeah, and it's just like the one at the Jedi Temple in The Last Jedi where Rey touches it. And even before I like fully went through the cutscene and everything, I went up to it and it had that whole reflective like multiple image going back thing for it.
Just
and it did
the game before you activated the cutscene, you could like see it. Oh, that's cool.
And it even like kind of does a whole thing when he touches
I don't remember that.
Yeah, and it kind of like flips and you go into the whole area where the Zephos start talking to you about their whole situation that they went through.
I like stuff like that, going back and exploring some of the ancient races.
I'm kind of curious because I was looking at the game, why the holocrons are different. Like why square is for the Jedi and
the triangle is for Sith.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Even what the Sith Wayfinder was, or pointed like that too.
Was it triangular? It was triangular, right?
Yeah,
it was like, was it like a two-sided, or was it just one? Was it have a flat bottom? I can't remember.
No, it was two-sided, I believe.
Like a key.
Yeah, and then after I get done with Fallen Order, I guess I need to come over here and play the Vader one. The VR and learn.
You do. We could talk about that too.
Yeah,
we should talk about that
because it explains why there's trees on Mustafar.
It's not. Yeah, I mean, it's not the craziest thing, but it's interesting.
There is actual Mustafar race. There's Mustafarians who live there.
Yeah, you meet them. Yeah, in VR. Yeah.
Yeah,
you hanging out with them. They're gross. They look gross, and they're tall.
Which I wasn't expecting the Inquisitor Fortress to be underwater, because some of the
it's interesting,
concept art in the art book doesn't really show them underwater.
Well, it must have been someone must have had. I don't know. I don't want to spoil it. I have an idea of like why maybe they did that, but I don't want to spoil anything for you.
Underwater.
Yeah.
It was underwater training. It's what Vegeta did to get stronger than Goku.
Yeah. Well, that was actually my theory. No,
I mean, it could work.
So what else is going on, man? Star Wars. What are you thinking about? What are you hyped for? What are you ready
am I hyped for?
Besides Boba Fett.
Well, there's always more adding to the rumor that the remakes of KOTOR will be done.
Oh
and
my
it's
god!
actually by the team who did the Tony Hawk Pro Skater remasters. They did a couple other ones. Here, stall for time while I look this up.
I would play the hell out of that. I already know I'm gonna play the hell out of Mass Effect trilogy remasters when that comes out in May. They did a KOTOR, man. I need to beat KOTOR 2 OG before I play a remaster, because it sounds like, well, it doesn't sound like, the only video I've seen where they talked about rumors for the KOTOR remaster, they were talking about possibly combining both games narratively, making it fit in with the Disney canon and everything. And it just makes me wonder, they can only change it so much and like combine both games. That doesn't really make sense to me unless you play two different characters. It just seems like the whole story would end up having to be different, and it wouldn't really be a remake. It would be more like a spiritual successor or a spiritual remake.
Well, that's the thing between having a remake or a remaster. Because a remaster would just be kind of like one-to-one of the original
but even
game,
a
but a
remake
bit better.
Wouldn't change the story. It would just be like a different engine. But
Vicarious
the same thing.
Visions, that's who it is. Vicarious Visions, they've done a couple other games.
Other remakes?
And just some of their
own stuff, yeah.
That's actually been pretty good. Let's see here. They did they helped with the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy.
Oh, okay.
Let's see, what else did they do? So they were one of the people who are like rumored about doing a KOTOR remaster or remake. Which I'm like, yeah, hey, they have good potential.
Yeah, I mean, any developer is fine as long as it's working with LucasArts.
Yeah.
And they know exactly what the hell's going on.
But would you want it to be more like rounded to fit into the canon, or would you kind of want it to be more of a...
I just don't want them to change the story too much. Like,
yeah.
I still want it to be KOTOR. I still want to wake up with the ship getting attacked and have Karth come on the communicator and go see Bastila. And have the whole
meeting
Revan
HK
thing.
and...
Yeah, I want like the game. I just want the game just beautiful. But I don't know. I'm open to anything. Also, as long as it's fun, has a good story.
Well, what about a KOTOR 3? Like, what if they do a KOTOR 3 where...
That's what I'm thinking they might do. They might just call it Knights of the Old Republic, and then it'll be like KOTOR 3, quote unquote.
It ties into the new canon, but it brings stuff from the first two games and just kind of like morphs it into the new canon.
Yeah,
where like they make a mention, we're like, oh hey, this dude's still a part of it, and these things still happen.
Yeah, I'm down for something like that too. But I also want just a remake of the games or a remaster of the games. I want those games with just like beautiful graphics,
like
but the same combat system and the same sort of like how they did with Wind Waker. Maybe a little more than Wind Waker. I don't know. Something like the first Halo, like Halo Combat Evolved. How you can switch back and forth, but the change is drastic. But the game feels the same. It still is the same game.
No, are you talking about like Combat Evolved specifically, or are you talking about like how they did with the
Combat
Master
Evolved
Chief?
Specifically?
Like with the Master Chief collection?
And two, but Combat Evolved specifically, yeah.
Because I feel like if they did something kind of like how they did with the Master Chief collection, that could be pretty well. Like where you can
both games in one package.
Yeah, but you can also like switch between
back and forth. That would
old
be
and new
dope.
graphics, but they also add in a few quality of life things to make it a bit easier.
I would love that. Not if easier, just more updated.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm okay with that combat system, sort of weirdly turn-based. Just have really updated animations, and you can just make it like Dragon Age, basically, like the new Dragon Age games, because they
Well,
use
see,
a
I brought it
similar
up to you
system.
before, like, what if Square Enix made a Star Wars game?
The
'Cause-
Final Fantasy guys.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want it to be specifically
that
stop
that
next
much.
turn, next turn, next
Well, I
turn.
mean, they've also been going into more of the
Right, with
action
Final
RPGs.
Fantasy 15. That's the one where you drive
Yeah.
around. Yeah, I played that one.
Well, yeah, in which
That's like super action RPG, though.
yeah, though.
I don't
but
know.
there's
We'll
the Final Fantasy 7 remake,
The remake, yeah.
and those were more action RPG oriented.
Right.
But I don't know, it would be. I've always just wanted to see them do kind of more stuff with the Old Republic, because there's a lot with the Old Republic that they can just take from and just make into the new canon, and still kind of work it around a bit.
Oh, yeah. And I'm sure that's what is going to happen and what they'll do. And they've done it a little bit.
Yeah. What about you? What are you excited about for Star Wars? The upcoming.
Besides KOTOR possible remake, looking forward to Battlefront 3.
Is there a Battlefront 3?
Rumored. I want
Interesting.
I want them to make a whole game that's basically Battlefront, but I want it to just be its own game, Battlefront Conquest. And just conquest mode, but like go in depth on the strategy elements and stuff, and
like
legit make a strategy game
conquering
on
over
top
the
of
whole
it,
galaxy and
turn
everything.
after turn. Yeah,
That would actually be pretty
but
cool.
you do the battles, add space.
Yeah.
Yeah, just do the battles.
You have the
using
whole
Battlefront
space
2
battle.
engine.
You have the planetary
It's sort of like
battles.
an offshoot version of Battlefront 1 and 2. They
I
should have just
mean-
kept Battlefront 2 going, then made a game called Battlefront Conquest.
I mean, that
Have
actually
it be a
would work out
conquest mode
pretty
and just
well.
keep Battlefront 2 going.
But even with an online aspect of that, where you can have you can play as any of the parties to take over the galaxy or reclaim it, and then you can also still keep where you can earn points to buy new, new.
Yeah, go deeper
Uh,
than that though. Have like real like strategy games, like have different units, like diplomatic units. They can go to planets to make trade agreements and stuff, and holding certain territories will give you various different kinds of resources. Like
Oh,
go
and then you
like
can
in
have,
depth into the
You can have
strategy.
side stuff of the Hutt coming in, and you're having to reclaim some
Stuff like that, and
space
getting
from the
upgrades.
HUD.
Like you can only get upgrades to your spaceships in space battles if you hold like these certain planets that focus on building space stuff. And you'll have weaknesses, and
That'd actually be pretty
it would
cool.
be sick. Like go in depth, like not too in depth, keep it kind of simple, but just have more elements of the strategy, and then just have it Battlefront fights, the
Yeah.
Battlefront 2 fights with the engine they have and the way everything works, and it would be
I've been-
so much
I've been
fun.
thinking of getting the new Battlefront and Battlefront 2, because I always see them
Battlefront
on
2's
sale
fun,
for
yeah.
super cheap. I always see them for $5 or $6.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I could just buy this. I'm curious. I mean, I haven't played them
The story's neat too.
since they've came out, so I know there's been a lot of handfuls of updates for them.
Yeah, there's been a lot of updates. There's a lot of units. There's like ARC troopers and droidicas, and
Yeah, I don't really.
there's
know
all
what's
kinds of
all
different units and
new
stuff.
with it.
There's a lot of stuff. There's Conquest game mode is back. Not Galactic Conquest like
Yeah.
on top, but the one where you capture points and stuff, sort of like Battlefield style.
Huh.
That one's fun. It's good. It's still pretty poppin'.
Yeah, I think I'd probably get Battlefront 2 if I got it, because I know
Yeah,
there's
if it's
a
on
lot.
sale, you should definitely just scoop it.
I know there's a lot more that they added and that you can do with Battlefront 2. Like
Yeah,
the
for
remake
sure.
of Battlefront 2.
There's
and
even a lot more like instant action and single player kind of battles you can set up and do as well.
I do have the old Battlefront 2.
Oh yeah, we played that. We have that Galactic Conquest game going on
Oh,
my
yeah, we do.
Xbox. Yeah, that we haven't
Yeah.
touched in a while. That shit's
Yeah.
so fun.
Man, that is, yeah.
That would be awesome to get 4 people, get 4 controllers on that
Oh,
on the big
man.
TV.
That would be crazy.
Get some of the boys to play it with us. That would be awesome.
Oh, man. Back in the days of having a LAN party.
All right, we bring it back. We always have LAN parties. All right, man.
Well,
I think that was good. Got
yeah,
anything else to say?
I think we've about covered a lot of handful of stuff that we got. So I guess we'll conclude episode 4.
Yeah, word.
Thank you everybody for listening. May the force
Yep.
be with you.
May the
Peace.
force be with you. Later, guys.